All right, so tonight I want to talk about organization and the power of consistency and the need. Oh, here she comes. Hey, Chelsea. Okay, so tonight I want to talk about the importance of consistency and how to stay organized when we are consistent. So I made a little bit of a PowerPoint, if it'll let me share my screen. Okay, can y'all see this? Oh, I can't see it.
Yeah.
Okay. So connecting, inviting, and following up. Chelsea, I don't think we've had a chance to talk in depth about the vital behaviors as a coach, but there's 4 things that if you are moving your business forward as a coach, you're doing pretty much every day. The first one is being proof that the products work. And so that just looks like doing the workouts, using the shakes or the pre and post, and sharing about it with people. So sometimes that could look like posting sample moves on Instagram or talking about it on your story or whatever it is. So you're doing that. The second vital behavior is connecting, inviting, and following up. That's where we're going to spend a lot of our time tonight, is how I do that and how I stay organized with it. I've been a coach now for 10 months, and so I've been doing this vital behavior pretty much every single day for 10 months, so I have to have a way to track everybody. That third vital is helping other people get results. So once you have a client, putting them in some sort of group, like an accountability group on Facebook or in the BOD app, to help them stay consistent with their workouts. And then the fourth vital is personal development. So we're going to spend our time in that second one. I want to start with 2 quotes. So the first quote says, "You will never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret of your success is found in your daily routine." So this quote is true of every single aspect in our entire life. If we want to grow our intimacy with the Lord, we need to be spending time with Him daily. Sorry, one sec. I'm going to let Grant out. It's the same in a relationship, whether it's a marriage or a friendship, you have to be doing something consistently to be moving that relationship forward. And in the same way as a coach, if we want to be moving our business forward and helping more people live healthier lives, these vital behaviors are things that we need to be doing consistently. The second quote is from a personal development book called The Slight Edge. If you haven't heard of it, I highly recommend it. It's amazing. I read it in college and it changed the way I viewed studying. It changed the way I viewed reading the word. It changed so many things about how I saw life. But it says, "What's easy to do is also easy not to do. Why did you walk past the treadmill? Because it's easy. And if you don't do it today or tomorrow or the next day, you won't suddenly drop dead. And you also won't suddenly put on 20 pounds, and you won't suddenly lose all of your muscle tone. The simple error in judgment compounded over time will ruin your health, but not immediately." So this idea of little itty bitty things that are really easy to just do. It's not difficult to send a follow-up to somebody and say, "Hey, did you have a chance to look at the email?" It's not difficult to like someone's photo and comment on it as a form of connection. But those little things are also really easy to just skip over, and we're not going to see the effects of it right away. But if we aren't doing those things on a daily basis, 3 months down the road, we're going to be like, "Man, I don't have anybody to talk to about the program that I'm doing because I've been skipping these things," or "I don't know who to follow up with because I haven't been keeping track of who I've been talking to." So that's kind of just an overview of kind of my mindset towards staying organized and the importance of that. So this is kind of the same thing, looking at those quotes through the lens of doing our vital behaviors, skipping a day of doing your vitals, not a big deal, whatever. Skipping a workout, skipping nutrition planning for a week, you're not going to see the effects of that right away, but over time these compound and create a gap where we want our health to be, where we want our relationships to be, all that. So this second vital behavior, connecting, inviting, following up. I want to talk and look at the power of numbers and the power of consistency in it. So let's say that you are inviting 5 people every single day. Starting out, I tell people to start in their warm market. So start with people that you know, sisters, moms, friends, bridesmaids, cousins, people that you already have a relationship with. Inviting 5 people a day means in 1 week, if you're doing that 7 days a week, it looks like 35 people a week. If you're doing it every day for a month, it's 140 a month. And for the year, it's 1680. And then if we're connecting for 10 minutes a day, same thing, multiply it by 7, 70 minutes a week, multiply it by the month, 280, multiply it by the year, 3360. And then following up, of the people who you've invited and connected with who are interested, I follow up with those people monthly if they aren't ready to jump in that first month. And so you can look at those numbers and see, okay, like if we're doing our job and we're doing the vitals, we need a way to stay organized. And so I also wanted to say with follow-up specifically, there's a couple of statistics. It's about sales, and I don't like the stigma behind sales, because people have a stigma that salespeople are like sleazy or are out to like get you. And I've heard this. There's a man called Grant Cardone. He's really into real estate and he's really big in personal development, but he has a book called Sell or Be Sold. And he talks about how we have to sell every single day. Like we have to sell our kids on eating vegetables. We have to sell, like he had to sell his wife on going on a date with him. So when I say sales, I don't want you to think like sleazy salesman. I want you to think our job as coming to people with this workout solution that could really help them. So 80% of sales that go through require at least 5 follow-ups. And then most people need more than 7 points of contact before they will say yes to something. So following up is like the fortune is in the follow-up. Like people are probably not going to jump onto the workouts or the nutrition programs right away. And if they do, like that's amazing, but that's not necessarily the norm statistically. As far as like personally, like what I've seen, May and June were my biggest months, and most of my new clients came from people who I had originally invited back in November and December who just weren't ready to jump in. Like it took them time of watching me stay consistent, watching probably like what I'm posting about our groups on my stories, and then finally being like, okay, yes, I'm ready to jump in. Like this is something I want to do. And so following up is super, super important. So again, we need to be staying organized. So a couple different ways. I asked Live Free, which is Julie Kemp's like big team page. I asked them just to kind of comment like how they track their people. And so Julie actually still uses pen and paper. She's been a coach for 3.5 years and she's done it the exact same way every time. So I'm going to touch on that. She uses the second page of the business activity tracker. So in the original email that I sent you guys when you signed up to be a coach, there is an attachment and it's a blue and white like chart looking paper. On the second page, there's just like, it's basically a blank chart where you can write someone's name in the first column and then you can kind of take notes on where they're at in the process. And so she will like she'll print off a bunch of those sheets and she'll write like July 2020 and all the new people that she's inviting, she's writing their names on that list. And then last month when she was following up with people for June, if she would then write their name on the July follow-up list so that when she gets to July, she is following up with the people who she didn't get signed up in June. You could also just freehand it, use a spiral, use a binder. If you're like really into tabs, you could like probably do a tab for each month. That's a very like simple way to do it. I know there's another girl named Cam who has been coaching for over a year and she does pen and paper. She's a student, so she just keeps it in a binder and she brings it with her to class. I personally can't do this because 3 of my 4 days out of the week, I'm doing my vitals at the hospital and I can't pull out a binder at the hospital. Like I need it all on my phone. So pen and paper, first option. oops, why is it not? There we go. Another option is Excel. So I actually started with Excel. I started coaching the very beginning of October, and for all of October, I used Excel. I put every single person who I was inviting, I put in like the column A, and then once I sent them like the informational email, I would highlight their name a certain color. I would take notes on what we were talking about, what their goals were. But it got to the point where I was like scrolling through the entire Excel document, and I like couldn't really figure out a way to make it very like organized and pointed and time friendly. So then I transitioned over to what I'm going to talk most about tonight is Streak. But before I get there, you could also use, if you didn't want to get Streak or any other sort of like systematic CRM, which CRM just stands for Customer Relations Manager. So there's a lot of different CRMs out there. I chose Streak because I have Gmail and it's produced by Google, and so it's linked to my Gmail account. But you could also just use your online calendar and set a reminder in your phone, like to follow up with people whenever you're supposed to follow up with them. But okay, Streak. So Google Streak, like I said, it is linked to a Gmail account because it's created by Google. There is an app that you can use on your phone, and then there's also a way to access Streak on your computer on Gmail. So first, I'm going to show you guys what it looks like on my computer. I started it out on my computer, and then when I figured out there was an app, it like sold me because I was like, oh my gosh, I can bring this to work. I can quickly do my follow-ups, quickly keep track of who I'm supposed to talk to, and check it off my list. So in Streak, you have the ability to create what's called a pipeline. So I have created a pipeline for accountability groups. I have one for coaching. I really don't use that as much because almost all of my coaches have been in my accountability group. So I just like use that as my coaching follow-ups also. So within the pipeline of accountability group, I have all of these different topics. This is basically the process of me introducing myself to someone all the way over to them being assigned challenger. So this is a list of all of the people, all of my clients who I have connected with Beachbody. And don't get overwhelmed by the numbers. Again, I've been doing this every single day for 10 months. Do not freak out. It takes time. So I'm going to actually skip this initial reach out for right now. I'm going to come back to it at the end. But my first topic is contacted about group. So these are the people who I have invited to hear about what I do as a coach / the accountability group. So all of my invite language is in the Be Transformed Facebook page. Under the unit section, there's a document that says Mayor's Language. It literally has every email I send, every follow-up, everything. But when I invite someone, essentially I say, hey, Meredith, if I've had a conversation with them before, I might say, I know I mentioned that I did health and fitness coaching. I'm not sure what you're doing, I'll say, I know I mentioned that I did health and fitness coaching. I actually have a group of girls who all do similar workouts, eat healthy, and hold each other accountable. No idea what you're doing to stay active or healthy, but would you be open to hearing about what I do to see if it would be helpful to you? So once I send that message to them, their name goes in contacted about group. Once they respond and say, yes, I'm interested, then I ask for their email and I move them from the contacted about group to the asked email category. Once they say, yes, I'm interested, they automatically earn a spot in my follow-ups for the next 4 to 6 months. So I'm actually, let's see. I'm going to show you guys on my phone how I do follow-ups just because that's when I do them. But I'll go through each of my topics first, and then I'll transition to my phone and show you guys how I do follow-ups. So once they say, yes, I'm interested, they move to the asked email category. Once they send me their email, I then send them an informational email about what I do as a coach, and then they get moved into the sent coaching info email. I'm very original with my topics. After I send them the coaching info, they'll either ask for a sample workout usually, or they'll say, I'm interested, how much does it cost? If they ask how much it costs, I then send them the pricing info. So they move into the sent pricing info tab. And then once they say, I want the first option with the shakes, then I say, what flavor of shakes do you want? Do you have a preference between whey and plant-based? And when they tell me their flavor, I will send them the purchase link, and they move over into my sent purchase link category. As you can tell, actually some of these have been challengers. Some of these I think haven't just been moved over, but after they buy it, they then move over into my signed challenger category. So the benefit, I think, of sending the information over email is that right away you have their email, so that if you get all the way over to where they're choosing a pricing option, you don't then have to say, awesome, like, glad that you chose that option. What's your email? Like, I already have that email up front. So it's easy for me to just be like, here's the link, let me know when you get it, and I'll send you the starting steps. So that is on the computer. There's an entire training that one of the girls on our team, her name's Sierra, she did on Streak for the computer. Really the only time I use my computer for it is if I want to send out a mass email to multiple people at the same time and make it look like it's only coming like from me to them. So I'll show you how to do that. If I were to send a message to Jennifer and Melissa and Jessica, I can do this mail merge, and it will send an email to all three of these people, but it will look like it's only coming from me to them. It doesn't look like a group message. So if I have like 3 people who all signed up on the same day, I will just do this on my computer and then send it all out. That way I'm not sending 3 individual messages. But for the most part, I utilize Streak on my phone. So I figured out I can share screen on my phone. Okay. Hold on, taking a second. Okay, so here's my phone. Kind of funny. I actually have, oops, oh my goodness, sorry, it's going away. Okay, I actually have the business activity tracker saved as the background on my phone. I've had it there since I started coaching in October, and it's just because I don't want to forget to do them every single day, because I just love coaching and I really want to do it every day, and I want to be able to stay home with our kiddos and be a full-time coach. So that's just kind of a fun background. So if I click into this, this orange and white icon is Google Streak in the bottom left. So I'm going to open it up. As you can see, I have my 2 pipelines that I've created. Again, I mostly use the accountability groups one. So if I click into it, I have all of my topics at the top, and I can just take my finger and scroll over and see each of the categories. So again, this contacted about group are the people that I have invited. And you can see that there's 1,300 people in there. That means that 1,300 people have either not answered me when I invited them, or they said no right away, and I just didn't feel the need to move them over to my no category. So don't feel discouraged when you send invites and nobody answers you back. It happens to everybody. So, okay, the way that I use the app mainly, let's say I'm gonna create a fake person. So in this bottom right-hand corner, there's a plus button. Let's say that I'm doing my invites and I'm like, oh, I wanna invite my sister, Megan. So I'm gonna press that plus box. Whichever category I am in is the category that that person will be put under. So I'm gonna cancel one second. Let's say that for some reason you forgot to track them when you first invited them. You can go to asked email. Like if you've already asked for their email, you can place them in asked email if you press the plus button while you're in that topic. But for now, we're gonna place them here. So let's say that I invited my sister, Megan Dirks. So I press create. You kind of have to go out and then come back in for it to update. So Megan is now the first one on the list. If she responds and says, yep, I'm interested, send me the details, I will then text her and say, great, what's a good email for you? I'll send you information. Once she sends me her email, I can then click into her name and I can place her email under the email section. I have actually, like when you set up a pipeline, it will ask you what topics you want to be in each quote unquote box. So like Megan is a box. I told Streak that I want to keep track of people's emails, and then I put an Insta handle category. I don't use that all the time. Sometimes if people's Instagram is like totally different than their name, I'll put it there just so I am not sitting there like wondering what their name is. And then I put a little notes category. But once I get her email, I can then click on this stage and it pops up with all of the categories that I can move her to. So I'm going to move her to asked email and press the checkbox. And then I will enter her email in here. I don't really have her email memorized, so I'm just gonna do this. So then I press save. And then this is the beauty of Google Streak. This is my absolute favorite part about it. You can scroll over on the top to the tasks and you can create a task. So tasks is where I keep track of every single follow-up ever. I have people who will tell me, I'm not ready right now, but follow up with me in 3 months. Okay, I'm going to their box in Google Streak and I am pressing the plus button in the bottom. I am pressing task and I will choose a date for whichever date I want Streak to tell me to follow up with them. So anytime I get someone's email, anytime I send an email, anytime I send pricing options, I send a sample workout, anytime I have like a new step of contact with them, I set a follow-up for 3 days in advance. So if I texted Megan and I said, hey, I'm doing this new workout program in 2 weeks, it'd be really fun if we did it together. Would you want to hear about it? She says yes. As soon as she says yes, I set a follow-up for 3 days in advance. You click pick date, save. And then once she sends me her email, I will send the email, put the email in Google Streak. And let's say that it took her a day to give me her email. I would then, gosh, it's like taking a second. I think it's because it's connected to Zoom. It's taking a while. If I invited her today and she didn't give me her email till tomorrow, I would then come back into Streak and set a follow-up date 3 days from tomorrow. For me, 3 days feels like a good amount of time. As a nurse, if I were working 3 days in a row, I wouldn't want somebody following up with me like the next day. So 3 days is kind of a good rule of thumb for me. So after you have set that task, I don't know why it's giving me some trouble. Let's see, 3 days in advance. Well, okay, it's fine. We don't need it for this demo. But so each time that I have connections with somebody, I will then update the follow-up day to be 3 days in advance. Or if they say, like I had a girl today who said she's starting school next week, and so she wanted me to follow up with her at the end of next week. So I went into her box and I told Streak to move her follow-up day to like next Friday. So giving her a full week of school, see what she's thinking, if she thinks she can like do workouts at school. So every day when I'm doing that second vital behavior and it's time to follow up, you can go, once you open Streak, this is like the main page. At the very bottom, you see this upcoming. This is the beauty of Streak, if it's gonna work for me. Bummer. Well, usually when you click on upcoming, I think it's because it's sharing. Hold on. Let me see if I can refresh it. But usually when you open that upcoming tab, it'll say today at the top, or if you've done everything for today, it will say tomorrow, and it will have a list of all of the people that you have told Streak to remember to follow up with on tomorrow or today. And so when it's time to do my follow-ups, I open up Streak, I open up the upcoming bar, and then I just go through one by one. And if it's somebody who I've sent the pricing options to and I haven't heard back from them, I will DM them, text them, email them, whatever form of communication we're using. And I will say, hey, have you had a chance to look at the pricing options? Simple. If I have already sent that message and they didn't respond and it's been another 3 days, I will then say, hey, not sure if you've seen the pricing options I sent over, but our next group starts August 2nd. We'll be doing I basically just give them the rundown of the next group that we're starting. So that's kind of how I do follow-ups. Man, I want to show you guys. It's really awesome. But another, I guess, cool thing about Streak, let's say for some reason your app stops working. Streak is connected to the calendar on our phone. So this little calendar. So today, Tuesday, July 21st, I've done all my follow-ups. So at the beginning of today, I have 15 people listed here, but I've done them all. So tomorrow, these are all of the people who I'm supposed to follow up with. So for instance, Ashley Daigle, that's a girl I went to college with. I invited her back, I think in like February. So she is still on my monthly follow-up list. So tomorrow I will follow up with her and say, hey, hope you're doing well. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Our next program starts August 2nd. We'll be doing 2 back-to-back 3-week programs that are, I don't know, I'll kind of give a rundown of the program that we're starting, and then I'll say, let me know if you're at all interested, and we can chat details and I can answer any questions that you have. So I have that like saved, and I just like copy and paste it to my people. Another way of being fast with my follow-ups, if you don't know, on Instagram. So let's go to this person. They messaged me. So if you want your follow-ups or you're inviting or you're connecting, whatever it is, to be like super speedy fast, which I'm all about because I do half of my coaching work at the hospital, you can go to this little black plus mark, and if you click on it, this ... thing pops up. If you click on that, it is quick replies. So I have created all of these quick replies as I have one that says, if somebody follows me and I can't necessarily find out if we have something in common, I will send them this generalized, hello, it's so fun to connect with new friends on Instagram. I share a little bit about myself, and then I say, I'd love to get to know you too. What's really helpful for follow-ups is you can create a shortcut. So this number 2 means that if I click the number 2 in my message, it comes up with this blue ... If you click it, it autofills whatever message I have linked to that number 2. So for me, I'm going to start MBF on August 2nd. So I just picked the number 2 because it's really fast for me to click number 2 when I'm sending a follow-up to somebody. So if it's that Ashley Daigle girl who's first on my list tomorrow, I will go and I will click number 2. I will then change her name in here to Ashley. Sometimes I will put a little blurb right here, like if I saw that they were like out of the country or like just got married or something, I'll say like, hope you're enjoying marriage, hope you're enjoying engagement, whatever it is. And then I'll just go into wanted to give you a heads up about our August group, next program, blah, 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 blah. So that's a way to make follow-ups and connections and anything that you can think of that you are sending like more than once. You can create a shortcut for it and make it super simple. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure that I covered everything that I wanted to cover. Upcoming, now track connect. Oh yeah, okay. So coming back, I said that I was going to come back to this. So coming back to, gosh, well, sometimes if it's my phone's doing too many things at once, it'll go away. Oh, sorry, I have a lot of tabs open. Okay, coming back to Streak. Well, it's not gonna let me do it. I'm gonna stop sharing and go back to my Gmail. So that very first category was the desktop. Okay, I'm going back to sharing my laptop. The very first category is in my Streak. I have created a new one. So when I first started, my first category was contacted about group. Now I have created one that's called initial reach out. So Julie talks a lot about like, what is your frog? And my frog turned into inviting, because I had gotten to the point where I had invited every single person that I had ever met, like all of my Instagram friends, all my Facebook friends. I'd gone through my, like my phone and go away. I'd gone through my phone and like looked at people who I hadn't invited, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna run out of people and I'm not gonna be able to invite 5 a day like I'm supposed to, which no one's telling you to do anything. That's just me wanting to be like productive and move coaching forward. And so the way that I've kind of like combated that being my frog is that when I connect with people now, so when I set a timer for 10 minutes and connect with new people on Instagram, I will, if they're public and I can see that I have something in common with them. So if they're a nurse, if they're a wife, if they're a believer, I will go into their inbox and I will say, hey, Meredith, I stumbled on your page. I love meeting other Christian wives on Instagram. Just wanted to pop in and say hi. I hope you're having a great week. So once I send that message, if they text me back and are like, oh my gosh, hi, like so nice of you, whatever, I will then start a conversation with them about whatever it was that I connected with them on. So if we connected over being wives, I will ask them, how'd you and your husband meet? Or if they're a believer, I'll usually go to their page and try to figure out if they're like a student or if they're working. And I'll say like, I see you're a student, like, what are you studying? Or like, what do you do for work? Like just literally do anything to have a conversation about life and like pretty much actively avoid the topic of coaching, because like truly I just want to make a friend. And if they're like giving it back to me and like actually having a conversation, I will put their name in the initial reach out category and I will set a follow-up for me to invite them. So I will go to that red plus mark in the bottom right-hand corner on my app and I will click add a task. And I usually set it out for 5 days in advance. So if I'm talking to them on a Monday and our conversation's kind of like dying out and they haven't asked about coaching, which sometimes people will ask about it. They'll be like, hey, I see you're a health and fitness coach. Like, tell me about it. And then I'm like, sweet. Like, what's a good email? I'd love to tell you details about what I do. So that for me, I count that as an invite. Once I ask for their email, like they go into my contacted about the group. But if we haven't touched on coaching, I will add them to my initial reach out category and I will set a follow-up for me to invite them in 5 days. So in 5 days, hopefully I've been talking to, 2 to 5 people a day. And so I already have like 5 people that I'm supposed to invite who I've already had a connection with. So that's been really helpful for me to kind of like fill my vitals, like check marks, but also it eliminates all of the time. So what I was doing before is I was going to who was watching my Instagram stories and I was like scrolling through trying to pick out the people who I hadn't talked to about coaching yet. And that was exhausting and it took way too long. So I'm like, how can I make this quicker? So whoever I was talking to, whoever I was having connections with, I would put them in here, set a follow-up and just say like, in the follow-up, it's really cool. You can say like invite, or you can say like, send them sample workouts or ask them about how pregnancy is or something. Like if there's something I want to specifically follow up with under that task, that follow up, you can put a note so that when you see it, you're like, oh yeah, like she was the one who I was talking to about, she had her tonsils taken out last week. So I need to ask her how she's doing. So that's been really helpful for me. That was everything. I'm going to link the talk that Sierra did. She did it. It's on Julie's YouTube channel. She has all of her old team calls linked there, but I will link that probably in the comments of my YouTube. I recorded this, so I'm going to put this on YouTube, but I will link that and put it in the comments so that y'all can refer to that if you want more information on Streak on the computer. I just use it mostly on my phone. So that's where I wanted to spend most of our time today. What questions do y'all have, if any? We have 5 minutes till it kicks us off.
I really don't have any questions, I don't think. I'm just trying to wrap my mind around like starting my accountability group on Monday, and a lot of people have actually reached out about it, which is exciting. It's kind of like a good balance of, half are like, yeah, I'm interested, like I'd love some more information or like pricing on Beachbody and stuff, and then some are like, do I have to be using a Beachbody program? Like I really just need this form of accountability. And so I'm working that out I'm tested it out on one of my friends if I can like invite people that aren't using the programs, which I think I can. So that's mainly what I'm doing. But I don't know, just any like tips, if any, on starting a group or anything you want to say about that really fast.
Yeah.
I'm excited, but
No, you're good.
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking about, so on ShareCart, there's an option to enroll without purchase. And I noticed that today. So that might be the avenue that you can get people plugged in if they don't want to buy anything. I think it will just create them an account with their email and they can make a password. And I think they can just download BOD, log in, and they should be able to get plugged in. So you can try that. As far as starting a group, so something that I did, I've gone back to doing it because it just kind of takes something off my plate. But since I do those morning motivational posts, you can you can pre-schedule them to where if you can't do it on your phone, but you can pre-schedule them on your laptop. The beachbuddyonman.com, go to BOD groups, or are you doing Facebook or BOD groups?
BOD groups.
Okay, so beachbuddyonman.com, go to BOD groups. It'll have, if you go to the feed, there's an option just to like make a post, and then right above that it says schedule a post or something like that, and you click on that button and you can pre-schedule out like all of the posts that you know you're going to make. So like if I have an off, like I didn't get to it today because I was running errands and stuff, but like tomorrow if I have some free time, I'm going to go ahead and find some like motivational pictures. I literally go to Pinterest and type in like it's nothing crazy or like if there's some verse I want to share, I just Google it. And I will go ahead and pre-schedule out like 6 a.m. is usually when I post them. But you can type the caption, add the picture, and tell it what time you want it to post, and I will like schedule out like 7 days. So even if I'm sleeping in or if I'm at work and I'm busy, I don't have to remember, shoot, like I got to post that or I got to think of it. It's just, it goes up.
It's already done.
Same thing for like, since I do like now they're at 8 o'clock at night, but like the little check-ins, I would do that. Like I'll go ahead and preset those too, so that, because I was like driving to work for night shift and then I have like a reminder on my phone just to set or to post the check-in. And I'd be like sitting in my car about to walk in and it would go off and I was like, oh my gosh, like now I have to do this. So I was like, I don't want the stress of this. Like I just want it to go up and then I will check back in with it and like encourage people on it later. So that's super helpful. It takes that part like off of your plate and then you can go into the group and focus on encouraging and commenting and doing whatever else.
Perfect.
I think I told you this on the phone. I can't remember if it was you, but you can copy any of the posts that I've ever done. You can copy and paste the meal plans, copy like literally everything. It's not mine. I've gathered. I
will honestly probably copy the meal plans because that's like the biggest area I struggle in because I'm like extremely picky, and so that's something I'm working on. But so like I'm not good at coming up with that stuff, but that'll be good to kind of get out there, and then I'll slowly, once I learn what I like and don't more and try some stuff out, we'll see. But
and with Ultimate Portion Fix, you can just switch out. Like if I have a red, like 2 eggs for breakfast, you can switch out that red for any other protein.
Okay.
So you can always just use that as a template and then just kind of like, if you wanted to create your own, which you don't have to, but you could just kind of swap.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we have less than a minute. Any last pressing questions?
I think I'm good.
Okay, cool.
I'm good too.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.